So it looks like I'm waiting for everything on my end. There's always a lag between when you start these things and YouTube starts. Um, with that, and I got nobody watching right now except for me. So StreamYards has been having this issue with the comments. So as you guys pop in, if it takes a minute, I'm trying to kind of watch on my phone for comments, and then in the live with that. So again, it's February. It's time for episode 2 of the Head Canon Live, whatever this thing is called. Uh, I got a good topic tonight and a great guest to do that. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring him up. And joining me is Robert from, whoops, man, what is going on here? Hold on a second. My producer is not doing what I need to do. I'll get this. Technical difficulties. You can tell this is a highly professional operation I've got here.
I heard StreamYard changed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, so like punch that. There we go. Whoa. That's not right. That's right. Here we go.
There it is.
It's like I can't afford a producer, so it's 3POA and all of them, Nobby and all those guys have the background guy to do it. I'm just a one-armed man in a paper hanging contest. My dad used to say. So thanks for coming. Like I said, we'll got people will come trickling in. How they it's how they do. But
right.
But I just do this for the love of the game. So it's so what's been going on? I've been watching some good content over on your channel.
Just trying to have a little bit of fun at least. Talk about collecting, talk about my latest beef is I'm just thinking about the tariffs and how the prices aren't coming down now. And they're not going to.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things I try to explain this to folks that once a company because we know that when the tariffs hit, they raise the price more than what the tariff impact was.
Oh, absolutely, they did.
And people are and plus too, before the tariffs, like folks like Hasbro and a few others were already talking about raising prices.
Yeah, they were just waiting for an excuse.
And then they act like we forgot about all that and blamed everything on the tariffs. And it's just that's the nature of things that once a price goes up, it never really goes back down. One of the situations that so and that's just the way they do things. And
well, it's like last time there was a big problems with oil. It was around the between Rise of Cobra and Retaliation G.I. Joe movies.
Yeah.
And the price of the figures went up like 45%. And then the price of oil just plummeted. And it's like somebody was at one of the Joe shows where with the Hasbro booth and said, "Hey, when's the prices coming down?" And they just kind of looked at him funny and just walked away.
Well, it's like too when they back when sorry, I'm having trouble with my headphones here. Back when when Hasbro, when the sequel trilogy came out, and they changed the figures from the fully articulated ones that we've gotten used to for the past like 20 years to back to, was it 5 POA?
Oh yeah, that was a dark day. Ones.
And the prices went up on it, and they still haven't come back down, and now you're paying like $20 for a vintage collection figure.
Now, I'm not. I'm waiting for them to go on clearance.
Yeah. It's almost there's almost no difference in cost between a Black Series figure and a and a vintage one,
right?
And the PVC. And to me, that's also what kills it too, is the ridiculousness in vehicles, for vintage collection.
I use this example when the Naboo Starfighter came out. It was $20.
Yeah.
When that N1 came out for the Mandalorian, it was 130.
Yeah.
And it's almost the exact same mold. I mean, there's some tweaking on the mold, but it's almost the exact same mold.
Well, they did it too with the so you know the yeah, off to the side here I've got some of the tie strikers from Rogue One,
Mm-hmm.
which I went on Macari and bought a whole bunch of them because they were cheap, and there's really not a whole lot of difference in the quality between that and the vintage collection vehicles that came out. I mean, the X-wings are a little bit nicer
Uh-huh.
than the old ones. Back behind me, I've got a an old the oh gosh, what year did they put out the Luke Skywalker, the Red 5 X-wing, the nice one with the cockpit and
Right.
the droid socket.
Right.
Um, and then in the Poe one, like I said, that one's a little bit nicer, but not by much. And then I bought that off of Macari for like $70, still in box.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was like 100 and something when it came out. And then the E-wing, which was my favorite expanded universe Rebel vehicle, I waited till those hit about 90 on Amazon. And
Yeah, those were ridiculous too.
yeah, and but and it's one of those things too that I mean, it goes to show that if they put out something you really want, you'll pay the money for it.
Yep.
But then their next thing was you had the Andor season 2 come out, which would have been a perfect time to do the tie Avenger that he flew
That's right.
in that show. But instead, what did they put out?
I can't
Darth
even.
Vader's TIE Fighter.
Oh yeah, the way overpriced Darth Vader TIE Fighter. Oh
Yeah,
god.
and the only thing that was like special about it is it was supposedly the cockpit had detailing, and you had
Yeah.
that one swappable wing panel on it.
I still got my
And
Power of the Force 2 one, and I'm fine.
yeah, yeah. So it's crazy how they do that stuff.
Right.
The but it is what it is. It's weird to me. Like I said, they're doing nothing to ensure a future generation of folks that it's going to buy this product. So it's kind of like they're just trying to milk it till we die,
That's exactly what they're doing.
and then and it's like too I know everybody got all bent out of shape about that GI Joe Classifieds figure with the dinosaur, you know, and then the cowboy. But I'm like, to me, that's what Classified should have been: is new stuff, new figures,
Yeah.
new things, and
I'm mostly finished with Classified. I'm
yeah.
gonna get Sci-Fi and Airtight. Those are the only two I want.
So
But
I got Sci-Fi, and that's a great one. I'm going to get Sundown because I
okay.
thought it's something never done before. I know there's
True
like
enough.
news and stuff that's and I like the connection to cops. That's
Hmm.
that was a cool thing. But Airtight was also one of my favorite ones as a kid. But I don't know if I'm going to get that one. I just picked this up today just because it was on the shelf,
Oh,
and
Lifeline, cool.
it's yeah, it's and again, my problem with Hasbro is it's they they can do a good job, but there's certain details that just get frustrating. Like they make these figures like both Doc and Short Fuse and him. You almost have to break the glasses to get them on with the helmet on.
Oh man.
Because there's not like enough little room for them to slide in
I
to
knew
there.
about
And
that
then
with Doc. I never got Short Fuse or Lifeline yet,
yeah,
so I didn't know
and then
about it.
with
I figured it might be the case.
yeah, and then with the goggles, it's so you can't even really get them onto the helmet
Right.
to stay without feel like you're gonna pop it. So it's just when it comes down to the little details, they just seem to kind of
And you know what drives me
otherwise,
crazy about that? Is I have a bunch of Mattel WWE wrestlers with sunglasses, and there's not a problem.
yeah.
They
Well,
don't need
that's the
anything. I mean, it
helmet.
just fits right on and stays on.
Well, if I took the helmet off, the glasses would fit on fine. It's just there's not enough room in between the head and the helmet
Oh, okay. Yeah.
to slide those little thin pieces of plastic um, in there without looking weird or breaking them.
Yeah.
So it's like, so do I want it to look like the figure, or do I want it to just do without the glasses and stuff like that? So, but
Gotcha.
uh, but like I said, that's I said the Sundown, I'll probably get that one. And to me, that's what as I said before, that classifieds, you know, they should have launched RetroCard and Classified at the same time
I agree.
when they were doing it. And the RetroCard should be kind of what it is, where it's the classic figures the way they looked like when they were 3 3/4 inch for the most part. And Classified should have been so either focused on some of the characters that they did post 94, or brand new characters or updated characters like they did with that's what I kind of liked about the Pursuit of Cobra line
Right.
was they brought a bunch of old characters back, but they updated them with like new uniforms and new looks and styles and stuff like that, and did a really good job.
Exactly.
But again, I keep saying that they need some sort of kid oriented line. Kids really aren't buying action figures and stuff like that like they used to. But like resurrect the Adventure Team line, and give us like a collector's
Just do
version of
something. I
Adventure
mean, it's
Team.
just like do something besides cut and
Especially,
paste.
well,
Because
especially now since they're doing stuff like this.
yeah,
You could put a desert adventure pack together with a giant in the polar
sure.
bear from Snake Eyes, and then do like a kid oriented line. Starting with like they own that Play School, Imagine X knockoff line. Do Adventure Team theme stuff with that to
Oh,
kind of
that would
step
be
them
good.
in, and then an intermediate line so that it grows with them as
Right.
they go, and then you do like a high end line with this kind of stuff for the kind of like what they did when they relaunched the 12-inch Joes. They did that with
Yeah.
some Adventure Team stuff, but
Kind of like what
you know,
Mattel's doing lately.
yeah, like I know everybody got all, and we'll get to the topic here in a minute, but so nobody's watching, so I don't care. Yeah, so I can ramble when I want to. But when they showed that first the DC figures that Mattel's doing,
Yeah.
and everybody just went, you know, acting like idiots, and they had to come and say this is our kid line, and even for a kid line, it looks nice. I mean, I like them.
I liked them.
And
I was like, wow, that's the kid line.
yeah, and then it's like, okay, so okay, now I want to kind of see what the collector line was like, because I used to collect, when they had it the first time, I always liked those figures. And then I saw that Batmobile that they're doing for the kids line.
Yeah.
And that it looks nice because it's the Batmobile. I mean, you can make it look like anything as long as it looks like high tech and cool and Batman themed.
Right.
But just that innovative idea of making it where it will accept modular,
Mm-hmm.
parts, like you have that Robin cycle, that you split the hood of the Batmobile open, and you do a little twist and turn on the Robin cycle, and it becomes a cannon that mounts
That's the
in
other
there.
thing too, is that Mattel has the team that's been working on WWE for so long doing this, and they do really good vehicles for cheap.
Yeah,
I mean, they do. I mean,
yeah,
it's like it's really surprising what comes out of that line. It's like,
yeah.
wow.
Well, I remember when that wrecking rig or something like that.
Yeah.
They they did that. So
That was a really
when
big vehicle too. I
it
mean,
was a big vehicle, and they were hard to find when it came out, and then when it went on clearance, it was really hard to find because
mhm.
customizers were snatching those things up. But like I said, there's got to be featured somewhere, and it's but who knows? Maybe it's good that the line dies with me. So it's, and I do, I'm not saying too. I'm a you know yeah, I'm a mark for Valiver stuff because somebody
Hey,
that
I am
kind of
too.
does what we want, and the whole thing about chart. It's like it's Zolicon. Speaking of that, you've seen these crazy
Oh yeah, I saw that.
it's kind of like when I saw it when they posted that picture, I was like, okay, I got to do a beam of it, because it's like you can't do that.
Right.
But and I know a lot of people are heading out there. And I would love to go, with them. But and it's like when I think Zoltan's where Bobby's doing the black figure, the
Yep. That's the
Davy
exclusive.
Jones thing, and everybody and people should know by now that if you just wait a couple of weeks, be
Yeah.
patient, you'll be able to order it off the website.
Right.
But people will go out there and 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 people must be paying the price, when they throw it out on Mercari and eBay, for a couple $100. If nobody
Yeah,
was
they're
paying
ridiculous.
that price, if nobody was paying for it, people wouldn't do it. So it's just
Right.
like, just be patient, guys. Everybody gets one. There isn't a single exclusive, um, except for one or two, uh, that I wasn't able to get from the website afterwards. I think the only one was the translucent wraith, the first one, because that was the 1/100. I'm never having any luck with the variants.
I never get the
The old
variant.
heads,
I
the old head steel, the bloody Pandoras and
right. Well, I
the
got a
old heads.
bloody at the mail away one,
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah. I didn't even get that. I got that, and then and then which I'm glad he did the translucent wraith 2.0. So
I was so happy when he announced that. I was like, yes.
yeah, yeah. So, but it's the difference between a guy that wants to make money or versus a
Hmm.
company that just will lose money because it somehow helps the stock dividends or helps them do something else. So it's all a game.
Exactly.
But speaking of games,
Yo.
uh, I want to talk about this this wonderful YouTube sport that people seem to go in, you know, get involved with,
Right.
and this thing of uh, channels just attacking other people in other channels.
Yeah.
Sometimes either and I don't I kind of understand it, but I kind of don't, because I don't see how people. Some people are doing it because that as a kind of a quick way to build their channel. Like I'm a small channel. I mean, I'm
Right.
not even. I wouldn't even. I don't even think I rate as a small channel. That's how small I am. And I've seen people do that where they go after somebody and that's all they do, and somehow they attract an audience, and or they're a bigger channel and they go after smaller channels and try to destroy them as well. Um, so yeah, so and the reason I brought you on is you don't you've been involved in some great beefs on YouTube. uh,
I know, and
both
I hate it.
yeah, sometimes not intentionally, where you'll
Yeah.
just ask an innocent question, or somebody will say something that's false, and you go correct the record, and now all of a sudden, you've been how many channels have you been blocked from? Do you know, or do you have a count or
I
a
don't
count
know.
of it? Or
I don't know because you know what? You don't actually get a good idea because what people don't realize when they block you on your end, it looks like everything's fine. You can even leave a comment, but the only one that can see it is the channel owner.
see, I didn't even know that's how much I don't know how these
Yeah,
things
no, I
work.
found that out. I found that out fairly recently. It was like, oh, so really nothing changes for the person that's been blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So how do you even know? So how
yeah.
impactful is that? And if
I mean,
you
I'm pretty sure I'm blocked from Boog's channel at this
okay,
point. um, let me see. I really have no idea though. I know there's a couple I'm blocked off of, but like, I don't know all of them.
yeah. Now I will say, like there's some channels I used to watch I don't watch anymore,
Mm-hmm.
And but that's only because I'll watch. I don't let him, but it's only usually when it's and usually the reason why I stop watching them is that you know, they're doing something and they'll attack somebody else's channel, and then somebody starts pulling receipts, and turns out the guy, the person running the the channel that originally attacked is a dirt bag.
Right.
We've had a couple of those things where you
Certain
know,
island vipers.
you can say like I said, nobody. I got nobody watching right now, so. So last month I did the whole war movie thing, and I
Mm-hmm.
pulled out movie posters that had guns on it because I said my theory is that as long as you're not monetized and you're under a certain level, then the algorithm doesn't catch you.
Yeah.
So I kind of push the. I'm trying to enjoy pushing those limits right now. I mean, I know there's certain things that bots will trigger, like I can't stand up here and and take them, just all kinds of certain crazy things that the AI watchdogs will immediately pounce on no matter who you are. But for the
Right.
most part, I think I can fly under the radar for now. And my joke is that I absolutely refuse to monetize my channel until I reach the bare minimum requirements to do so. That's my guarantee to my audience. So those of you on the replay squad, you know. But I think that kind of plays into it too. That once a channel gets to a point, where they're monetizing, when they're starting getting the super chats and the memberships, and then on their regular videos, YouTube starts running ads, and then they reach a point. I can't say this whole thing now where I'm seeing where live streams are being interrupted for ads in the middle of it.
Yeah, that drives me crazy, and it's like, and I've talked to a couple of people it's happened to. They were not even aware of it.
Yeah.
It's,
So I
and it's
kind of
like
think that
some of them don't even know how to turn it off. I know there's a way to. I just don't know how.
so I think that when it gets to that point is where people start getting and they're watching the algorithm every day, and they're on their dashboard, watching how many people watch something and up and down, and whatever. And I can't, somebody knows, that has actually monetized their channels. Like, when somebody throws up a $20 super chat, the creator doesn't get $20.
No.
It's like, I think, pennies on the dollar or something like that. But I think these folks sometimes get so crazy that if they like even see somebody that they think may be a threat to them,
Mm-hmm.
that they feel like they have to attack.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons my super chats are always so low, is because I know they don't get much.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's part of my theory is why people, feel like they need to get to it, and but then I just don't
Well, and
understand
I
it
mean,
sometimes.
as I think about it, disagreements are going to happen.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, disagreements are going to happen. Now, since I've already mentioned his name, Bug, he can't handle not one little itty bitty teeny tiny bit of criticism.
Huh.
He go, you know, he got on to me because I made a chat about him that he invented something,
Yeah.
and he sought me out and started contacting me on Instagram about it. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. The running joke of the toy community,
Yeah.
and you seek me out.
Well, I know I'm guilty of doing that because it's funny.
Yeah,
But
no,
I've
I
never
mean, it is
seen it.
funny,
I've never
but
seen this guy's channel. I couldn't pick him up out of a lineup if I needed to.
oh, I
But he's
know him
just
very
funny.
well now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a big long message thread from him on Instagram.
But he does he have he has kind of a sizable, like, this guy, like, he gets like invited to Hasbro's booth and stuff like that, right?
Okay, here's the thing, and it eats at him. He has a lot of subs, but not a lot of views.
Ah.
He's one of those channels that have kind of dropped off.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a lot of his problem. But Hasbro sees the subs. They don't care about the views. They don't look at that.
Huh.
So that's how he gets invited.
So now, is it like, I know other channels have been accused of buying bots? or phantom subs
Mm-hmm.
to do that. But but to me, it probably sounds like that it could be a lot of it where people have subscribed, but they just don't watch the channel. I've got like a ton of
Yeah. Well, I'll bring another
channels
one
I've
down.
subscribed
Chartimus
to that I
Prime.
don't. Okay.
Chartimus Prime. I know one of his subs is my old email that I lost the
Okay.
password to. So, I mean, how many people are like that too? That they
Yeah.
old emails they've lost the password to. I mean,
But
that happens a lot.
but
But
if
then
it's
you
a
look at
sub game,
3POA and their engagement is insane.
yeah.
Their views are almost as much as their subs.
But if like Hasbro doesn't care about the ratio of views to subs and just the subs, then what do you have really to be upset about? Unless it's just an internal flaw of the person that somehow they feel inadequate because of uh, you know that people aren't listening. That people I've established myself as an
I
authority and nobody's
suppose. I
listening
mean,
to me.
I don't understand it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Um, I've only watched like 2 of his live streams and I fell asleep each time. I mean, I have to admit that.
It's
And it was in the morning.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
But but you're not the only person that's made that joke, right? Or were you the first person to
no,
make the joke?
I know of a dozen people who have made that joke.
So
So,
why were you singled out then?
I have no idea. This was before, and I mean, what made this worse was this was right before, he came up to Chad at San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like it was pretty insane. So, I don't understand. I don't know if it's an ego thing. I have kind of dropped the book and and stuff just because it gets old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes a joke can go on too long.
Right. Yeah,
You
I
know?
feel like it's gone on too long and it's kind of like, let that one die.
Well, I know sometimes I purposely like to beat a joke to death.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
that one deserves
yeah,
to be beat to death.
just to go, because then it makes when you resurrect it so sweet though, once it's died off and you bring it back. But that would
Well,
be
no,
but
especially
that
after
would
he
be
said,
like
"Well, we started the DTOF thing right after it was dying out the first time."
but that would be like me going over and commenting on something, you know, saying hey you know and a lot of times it's not stuff like where you egregiously go somebody goes over there and says something off base or
Mhm.
outrageous or just misrep or something false. It's usually like a small thing, like hey, great video, but you said issue 50 of the comic and it was actually issue 52, and then they just come after you,
Right.
you know, like that, and then and
Yeah,
then
I've
it
seen that.
causes this whole, then it causes this whole thing too. And a good example of this was Articulated Ninja,
Oh yeah.
where he made a video. I can't remember what the video was originally, and and then they came after him on something that was completely unrelated to the content. It was a personal attack, and which caused him to go dig up, you know, the whole, people that live in glass houses should get dressed with the
Right.
lights off type of deal, and it's like, it's just crazy how some of these people don't think,
No.
I don't know if it's just the internet seems to have empowered people, because you and I, we kind of grew up in a generation where, you could say things, but you had to expect that you might get punched in the mouth,
Right.
for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
and you had to be willing, to do that. And I think like the internet has kind of made it where you don't feel like there's any repercussions for what you do.
Yes and no. There's not immediate repercussions for sure. Um, you know, there are repercussions. I'm waiting for a time when a repercussion happens that gets bad.
Yeah.
I think that will happen at some point.
Well, I mean, with our repercussions, people get videos taken down
Hmm.
and sometimes get their channels locked out. and usually it's kind of, it's kind of done. Gosh, I'm trying to think of the best word for it. Trying to think of something I could call that I could say that if the AI bots are watching it, I'll get in trouble.
Right.
It's in a cowardly way, using, abusing, YouTube's notorious loose terms of service,
Mm-hmm.
Thing, or community standards,
Right.
Thing that they get people on, this whole guilty until proven innocent uh, type mentality. Nobody really wants to confront anybody on this stuff anymore. Passive aggressive, that's the word I'm looking for. So,
Passive aggressive. Okay.
yeah. Whereas, like in if you like fight in the comments, at least you're engaging and you got to stand by what you
Right.
say, type of deal. But it's because somebody said something I didn't like, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to complain to YouTube and get their channel taken down. Which again, it causes people that or that a lot of times they get attacked, and mostly it's not people, like in the case of Viper Island, with he going back to the whole laser pants thing with Viper Island stealing a photo of Ryan's, and then when Ryan says, "Hey, why'd you do that?" instead of discussing it or have an argument, like, well, he immediately bombs his Instagram account, gets it locked out.
Yeah, that's one of the more cut and dry examples of, that guy. I mean, he just really pushed it to the limit, and he got the Valaverse people and the classified people to join forces against him. I mean, everybody hated him.
And that weird thing he did with Destro's my spirit animal.
Yep. Again, and that's, I mean, he's got to know by now that's backfiring, because he's I don't know how he still gains subs. I mean, rumors are he buys them. I don't know that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the people who still are in his community have not seen through him at this point. Because even a Thunderhead could see through that.
Well, I think a lot of it is that some of these things are attractive to people that think the same way. Like somebody said, I can't remember who said it, that on social media is nobody wants to hear my opinion. What they want to hear is your opinion coming out of my mouth on my platform.
Right.
And so they kind of feel like these people are all cut of the same cloth, and all he's doing is saying what they say, and they like that. And then again, with the whole thing with the super chatting and and the monetization, it just reinforces the need. Like there's channels that all they do is, no matter what Hasbro or this company puts out or that company puts out, they just hate it, and they do a whole video about how much they hate it, and they get the views and they get the subs. As long as they're saying what whatever audience they wind up attracting, and that they're going to keep saying it that way.
Yeah, the perfect example of that, and let's go over here to the movie realm for a second. Perfect example of that is, are you familiar with the Critical Drinker?
Yeah.
Okay. He's got a guy who's got about 30,000 subs named the Birdman.
Okay.
Who constantly, you go to his channel and like every other video is about the Critical Drinker. And he's basically reacting to Critical Drinker. But his reactions are like, it's just way out here on Pluto. It's like, he was talking about Rotten Tomatoes and how people don't trust aggregate sites. It's like, great job, Critical Drinker, of not telling us you don't know how aggregate sites work. That's gathering people's opinions together. It's like, he never said that wasn't the reason. He said that people don't trust modern movie criticisms. It's just like, it's hilarious.
or there's almost a subculture of folks that
Mm-hmm.
their entire channels are about attacking another channel.
Yeah, yeah. No,
You
this
know,
is
that
one, and
that you've got to wait for this
and
one
then
channel.
it spawns off into another one. There's a one called Kinoflex that attacks Birdman all the time. It's
Yeah,
like I'm entertained by it. I watch it and I'm
yeah.
like, this is so funny to
I
watch
mean,
these guys go back and forth.
you have to sit there and wait, and because and this is actually a conversation I wanted to have a while back when everything was going on that was hot. But knowing how I do my things, it wasn't going to be a topic. So,
Yeah,
but it's almost like you have to sit there and wait for
right.
your this person to drop a video so you can immediately cut a response to it
Hmm.
and get it out there before it just comes, background noise and
Yep.
everything else. And I could imagine doing that of having to wait, for say you to load up a Toy Apocalypse video for me to then cut a video saying how full of crap you are.
Yeah.
That's and then so I'm completely dependent upon, say, and it's just, to drive my content. And it's like but somehow, and it just seems to attract people though with that.
Well, yeah, and you've got those people who are just going to hate whatever this big
Yeah,
channel's doing, and they're going to flock to it. You do have an audience with it, but they're hardly paying attention to you. They just want to hear you get the zinger in on the guy they
yeah.
hate, you know. So
And
there's
I
that.
kind of think, and I kind of think too that because of that whole that feeding the algorithm, that people are just putting that content out there so fast, and then
Hmm.
they forget they made that content, and then they want to start trouble with somebody for doing something that they did, and they act
Right.
all surprised when you pull because they forgot to go back and delete the video. You
Yeah.
know, they but they act all surprised that you pulled that up. You know, that you found out on Twitter or X or whatever it's called that 10 years ago they said this, and
Hmm.
I guess it just fascinates me. Especially somebody like I'm very new to this whole YouTube. You know, I'm not an early adopter. I got to make it stick for a while, and I'm still learning how to do this, and and I
I
kind of
mean,
want my channel to grow, not to make money off of it, because I like the engagement. I like being able to share thoughts and get that feedback. But it
right.
makes it very hard for folks like that to find an audience.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I mean, I feel yeah. I'm the same way. I was mad that
yeah,
I mean, don't want to say mad. I was disappointed that I finally crossed 1,000 subs, but it was because of that stupid Viper Island video about Destro is my spirit animal. I was like, why did that have to get me across
yeah,
1,000?
yeah.
You know, of
But
all
also too,
things.
you don't shy away though from calling people out
No, I don't.
though.
No,
And
not that. And I mean, yeah, I think it was Viper Island was the first one that started with, but I was like, ever since, I've never been afraid to just say what it is, say what I feel.
yeah,
I mean, it's just words. For
yeah,
one thing, you know, if you're gonna really get that hurt, that's on you.
yeah. But it, but like I said, is the weird thing is like when I see this with like very large channels,
Hmm.
and I don't know, and some that has a very small presence, and you can tell the ones that are doing it because they're trying to grow off the controversy, so they'll
Right.
go after a bigger channel to try to get notoriety.
VTubers are the worst. I've just discovered those.
Which tubers?
VTubers.
VTube.
I don't know what that means. That's what they call themselves, VTubers. I just discovered them like this week.
What kind of content is that?
They're usually just reacting to each other.
Oh,
I mean, that's
I
all
think
I see is them reacting to each other. I'm like, going, what is going on here?
oh,
And
okay.
they all have
I
animated
know.
avatars and stuff, and it's like it's really weird.
Oh, I've seen my kids watch some of that stuff, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
what
I'm
is
just like,
this
what is this?
nonsense? But
I don't
my
think I'm going to
parents
go
are
much
probably like,
deeper into it. It's kind of
yeah,
funny, but it's like,
yeah.
you know.
I thought it was like something like I've seen. Like I like watching. There's a few reaction channels that I
Hmm.
like where somebody will like watch a movie for the first
Yeah.
time and they react to it. Or there's a one that I love for music called The Charismatic Voice, and this chick she's an opera singer, professional opera singer, and a vocal coach. And somebody got her hooked on listening to like rock and roll and metal and punk. So she'll like listen to a song that her audience suggests and kind of analyze it, and enjoy it. So I kind of like stuff like that. But then now I've started to notice these channels that are popping up that is a compilation of like you know YouTubers react to Blazing Saddles is a compilation channel of all these reaction channels reacting to Blazing Saddles. It's like so it's this weird you know thing of you're trying to, instead of making content on your own, you farm everybody else for your
Right.
your content.
So I have a question, kind of off topic, but
Yeah,
you said you watch the ones where they're watching the movies, right?
yeah.
So are you watching the movie while they're watching the movie, or is the movie being watched somewhere else and you're just
They're
hooked in?
usually watching the movie, and of course they have to edit it for link because nobody's going to watch a 2 hour you
Uh,
know YouTube video of them
okay,
watching so they edit it for content, and then with YouTube's restrictions, like music and they can't
got
play
it. Okay,
certain things. But it's like because I like watching folks with people that are younger than me that never saw some of these older movies I grew up on in the 80s and
okay,
90s for the
okay.
first time. So that's kind of a neat little thing. It's kind of like when I introduce my kids to something, I like watching them,
Right.
their reaction to it. So it's kind of funny. So but you don't get the whole movie. So they like will show the movies and they'll edit it and then they'll like stop it and they'll laugh at something they do or make a comment about it.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, I was wondering because I've seen a couple of channels pop up and I'm really confused because it's literally just them watching a movie, but you don't see the
yeah,
movie. You
yeah.
can't see it. They're just sitting there and it's real
Also,
time.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah. I
like,
don't
going,
know how
what is
I
going
haven't seen
on?
it.
And people are watching
Yeah, I
this
haven't.
and I'm going,
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those because
yeah, I've
it's
seen a
really
couple
like to
pop up.
watch. They watch enough of it to keep YouTube off their back. And every
Yeah,
once in a while
no,
they'll have
they're
to
watching it, but it's
re-upload it.
we can't see it.
Yeah. So, but we see
We see
we'll see
them.
the scene they're watching when they react to it.
Yeah, no, we see
So
them, but we can't see the movie.
yeah. So
And
that's
I'm like
weird.
going, is there like a fourth wall I'm missing somewhere that people?
Yeah.
Because I watch the chats and people will be like, "Oh, this is a great scene," and I'm like going,
Yeah.
"How do you know?"
Yeah. That's weird because I like to see what
Yeah,
they're watching. So,
I'm
yeah.
like, I feel like I'm missing a very important part of the story here.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just kind of weird, and anybody that thinks they figured out the algorithm, they don't know what they're talking about. I actually don't think that YouTube has an algorithm for what they show you. It's,
Well, they definitely shove certain
yeah,
things up higher than others because, like,
yeah,
I see channels and I won't name names on this one because it's like my TV. I've never signed it in to YouTube,
yeah,
and the toy stuff. It's always the same toy channels get pushed on me, and it's stuff I don't want to watch.
yeah,
And I'm like, why are you pushing this on me? I've never clicked it. It's obvious I don't want this. You know?
yeah. Well, I think it's kind of like when Google started, where you could buy in the beginning of Google, it was the Wild West, and then
Hmm.
they started where you could actually buy, you could pay to have your website come up in the top searches.
Right.
And then when they got called out for it, they had to do that thing where it's like, here are the top search sites, and then it ranks and then it's in order of everything else. So you probably could do that with YouTube, or more likely it's YouTube is looking at because they can throw ads in your stuff,
Right.
whether you're monetized or not. Um, that once you get to that certain point, and they realize they're making money off your channel, then they'll promote it. So I'm sure there's probably a way you could pay to promote your channel, and also there's some that they promote it because people are watching those channels. With that,
Right.
but it kind of drains the fun out of it. And like I said, it's just ridiculous, some of these fights. That break out, and especially the ones that do it on purpose to grow their channel, which is it's a weird way to grow a channel.
And usually it backfires.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it will backfire because you're just gonna cut off a certain part of the audience that probably could have grown your channel a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, talking about that too, the other weird thing too is when like I get like music in movies, like and that was another thing that that's been the big deal with Viper Island is the reason why they grew so large at the beginning was them bootlegging the G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I can understand why, Hasbro would be upset about something like that.
But it also says something that nobody noticed it for so long.
Yeah, but it's this idea of like the thing that happened with the channel that reviews the Jurassic Park toys, and they reviewed the toy and they got shut down because
they were before they call it the embargo. I don't like that name
but it's like and then they do it with stuff that's not that's even not embargoed or released and stuff like that. Because I get they want to control the stuff when it comes out, but ultimately in this YouTube sphere, it's all free advertising.
Right, exactly.
And sometimes they'll strategically leak things on purpose to certain people. We know that the quote unquote insiders, they're the quote unquote insiders, or it's not so much inside as they're getting a scoop. It's running it out. But when they come down hard on it, and then the whole thing, like and we talked about this a little bit before, the whole Four Horsemen and what was the other company?
Valaverse?
That has the Red Sonja license or something like that.
Oh, Boss Fight.
Oh, that's Boss Fight. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Which I don't know how Boss Fight. Oh well, I know how Boss Fight got pulled into this, but Boss Fight didn't do anything.
Well, it was this red. It was this Red
Sonja Official was the one. That's the people who own the license to Red Sonja.
Okay.
Yeah. So, that was the other thing is I was kind of like going, well, I mean, you can argue maybe Boss Fight talked to them to do something, but you can't prove that. You can only go by what's available to you on Instagram, and right there it is. Official Red Sonja did spam the hell out of that post.
Yeah, but these are people too. Actually, that's when it's that level of where you have, I know not all corporations are equal in size.
Right.
That Boss Fight, Red Sonja LLC, and Four Horsemen are nowhere near Hasbro, Mattel. I think there's only two toy companies left. Anymore. That kind of level of stuff. But they get into that petty fight over something like that. And that was a weird time to pick that fight too. Out of all the stuff that's come out before.
But did you see the comparisons of the pictures with the Red Sonja official art?
So,
because there's a couple of pictures that look like that same red-haired barbarian, and I'm like going, that's a little bit more.
Yeah, but when I was looking at it too, because a female body with red hair.
True enough.
Is different. And Red Sonja is normally portrayed a lot thinner.
I think also if they hadn't done scale mail for the bottom, they probably wouldn't have been.
Yeah, I think that was probably, they look different than what you normally wear, type of deal.
Right.
To me, she has a trademark look. To me, it looked the Four Horsemen looked like more like the costume from the crappy movie they did back in 2005.
Right.
You can't do old pulp style costumes anymore for females. It's not acceptable. So so they made it look more like Wonder Woman than that.
Okay, guys, we're getting Gabrielle and Xena anyway.
Yeah, but it's kind of like this, but the whole thing is that, like, that's probably something that should have been done behind doors with emails and a letter. Which that may have happened, but I don't feel like that. Just whole thing does not feel like that happened before. It was
No, I
they
don't
put
think it
it
did
out,
either,
and so
but
they
I think
jumped
it's
on it like that.
yeah, I think it was a poor way to handle it, and it was a poor way to react, and I think the whole thing was a real big mess. But now you got boss fighting, um, four horsemen fighting, so okay, you guys go have at it.
It's really for like
'Cause I
no
don't care about
reason.
either company.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is like it's not like people weren't going to buy a Red Sonja figure because they could get the Four Horsemen figure.
Yeah, I
You know
mean
what
they
I'm
weren't
saying?
going
That
to buy the Red Sonny figure because it sucked.
yeah,
Yeah,
because at the most, it would be if worse would be
I had the figure. It
the red,
sucked.
we have Red Sonja at home
Right,
type of deal.
right,
So
exactly.
and that's the other thing too is that I see companies do that when their product sucks. So instead of doing what the logical thing to do is to make a product that doesn't suck, they attack everybody else
Right.
because they have a better. We saw this with gosh, Star Trek a few years ago before Discovery came out when they went
Uh-huh.
after all the fan made stuff
Oh,
and
did they? I
started.
missed that.
Yeah, so yeah, this is a whole thing that there was a few because of just how accessible the technology has been on the internet. Is there were people that raise for us it's serious money. To CBS, it's not a whole lot of money,
Right.
and was putting out Star Trek fan films that had near big studio production values, and had even
Nice.
gotten some of the cast to cast and writers and people that worked on the shows to work on these things.
Uh-huh.
And they were getting ready to put out Discovery, and CBS came down
Oh,
with lawyers and stopped a whole bunch of productions, and then sued a bunch of fan productions, and then came out with eventually they came out with guidelines to for fan that basically just completely gutted that whole thing, and a lot of it's because the fans were putting out um, far better stories and quality. It didn't look like cardboard sets on in somebody's garage anymore, and so instead
well,
of ensuring that their product that they were spending $8 million per episode to put out and bragging about hiring people that to act and work and write on the show that never saw the original and had no care for it or didn't care about it. They they put out what they put out for 8 million, 9 million per episode, and then wonder why they don't get a huge audience for it anymore. And you can't blame streaming for that.
yeah,
You know,
as someone who
so
has been watching Starfleet Academy, I can say for certain that the bar is very low right now.
yeah, it's
Very low.
I don't
Puking
think people
glitter
have
is all
heard.
I'm going to say. Puking
Yeah,
glitter after eating a banana.
it's a whole lot of weird stuff. About the only thing out of the new Trek, so because what I like about Paramount Plus is every once in a while they'll drop an entire season of shows on the YouTube channel that you can watch for free, and they
Right.
usually do that before the next season comes out to try to get people to watch it. So
Right.
I saw the first season of Tulsa King,
Uh-huh.
which was great with Sylvester
Yeah,
Stallone,
that's
and
good.
so that's how I used to watch Lower Decks. As I would wait until the new season Lower Decks they would drop it on Paramount Plus, and I liked Lower Decks because the people that were writing it acted like they didn't hate Star Trek.
And I mean, it was trying to be
You
funny.
know, yeah. And then I kind of like it was a lot of some hits or miss, but overall I like Strange New Worlds. Um,
Now that's the one
you
I've not
know,
watched.
it's okay, but like I said, it had but it was better than I watched like the first two seasons of Discovery,
Hmm.
and it was just like you guys completely ignore things that have happened before because you're trying to be edgy.
Yeah.
This whole thing of using modern cuss words to try to connect to an audience,
And they have to explain to
and
you the thing you just saw, even though you just saw it.
yeah, that was a big thing with Doctor Who when they went into it.
Oh,
That whole thing.
oh
Because
boy.
I was having this conversation with my family the other day, that because I had seen the Jodie Whittaker that played the female doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had kind of I wasn't like a a thing for me because they'd done some things that's kind of set that up as a
Right.
precedent, and the whole thing with when they had the master and they had Missy,
Right.
which that was I've always thought that was great.
Mm-hmm.
With that her how she did that, and then they had Chris Chimbal come on as the showrunner and Jodie
He was
Whittaker,
bad.
and they were in, but they did Broadchurch, which was a great show. I
I
really
know.
liked that
That
show.
I love
It,
Broadchurch. I couldn't believe
so
how bad he did with Doctor Who.
well, that's the thing that it's just weird because they can make good television
Yeah.
and they could do that, and it was just every episode of that was a lecture on something. It's
Yeah.
kind of like it
It did have
was
that
just like,
element in
man.
it.
And again, it goes back to it's like I got mad when I saw Knives Out directed by Rian Johnson
Oof.
because I actually liked that movie. I thought it was really good and clever, and because I saw that because that came out after he did The Last Jedi, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, if you know how to make a good entertaining movie, why did you do that? It's
Because he secretly hated Star Wars and he just wanted to troll all of us.
yeah. But I don't see why people can't why they got to hate their audience
Yeah.
so much. And then like today, I know we're off topic, but I don't care. People on Woodger Place talk about it. So today it came out that I guess Max Landis, John Landis's son, is writing a G.I. Joe movie script.
That surprised me.
But then what surprised me the most was Danny McBride is also writing a G.I. Joe
That
movie
surprised
script,
me too.
which I like. I love The Righteous Gemstones. That was a great show, funny, and a couple other things he's done.
Uh-huh.
But I just but once I saw his name, I was like, they're not going to take this serious.
Probably not.
And that seems to be this thing of making things. And that's kind of what I heard about the new He-Man movie. Even though I thought the trailer was pretty cool to it, but then it's
Okay,
kind of
I did
coming out
not.
now that it's people that are wanting to that they're wanting to make fun of it, and it's like it's kind of a movie that makes fun of the whole property. Which I was never a He-Man fan as a kid, but I saw the movie, the Dolph Lundgren movie, and I was like, why are they setting this whole thing on Earth? And then, but now I know a whole story behind why they did that. And so when I saw this, so they're actually going to do stuff on Eternia. I was like, okay, that's cool, but yeah, it's just you hire these people that don't know the properties. Yeah, and I get it. You can get too fan servicey, and you can get somebody that's
Right.
too in love with the property,
I
and
mean,
but
Tony Gilroy didn't know much about Star Wars, and look what he did.
yeah,
I mean, it can help. It can work.
yeah, he did Rogue One, right?
And Andor.
Yeah. So to me, those were. I, I look at this as those were probably the best fan adaptation of expanded universe that
Mm-hmm.
I've ever seen. I know Rogue One had some problems with people. There's some people that are critical of it, but to me, that thing played out like an old East West Games RPG.
I mean, I like it.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's and then it's just weird how people just how why would you go into and uh do something you hate just to try to destroy it. So
It's hard to say. I mean, that's a broad question that almost needs its own show.
yeah.
But
Well, so
then,
it's one.
bringing it up, that's how beef gets started too. It's like, you don't like thing I like.
Yeah, it goes back
Star
to the
Wars,
whole thing. It's like
especially. Dear God, there's been wars fought over Star Wars.
yeah, and it goes back to this whole thing. It's like I don't want to hear your opinion. I want to hear my opinion coming out of your
Right.
mouth, type of deal. And it's just and besides, you can't have any criticism or the biggest sin is you can like something, but there's something about it you don't like. It's like you either have to hate it, 100% or like it 100%.
Right.
And that's what's weird to me is this. And if you don't 100% like this thing or 100% hate this thing, then we can't even have a civil conversation. That's what's mind-boggling to me. Hey, let's see. I don't know if Jeff is still here, but hey, Jeff, good to see you.
Hey,
thanks for watching. If you're still here, I know everybody's been bouncing in and out. But got some cats are trying to break in my house back there. But it's just and I get that too. I said a joke on I do the Figure Fight Club, the open mic night,
right.
and I made a joke because these figures, the classified, the original 13, which I'm like I've still got to find Zap, and then once they put out Short Fuse and Grand Slam, but people go, well, it's all green guys and they're all so boring, and it's like yeah, but the same people that hate these have like 50 Cobra Troopers. It's it's that kind of a thing that goes on that I hate them completely. It's like but for my folks, like I said, I think there's a dividing line in the Joe fandom.
There's always dividing lines in the Joe fandom.
Well, I kind of narrowed down. I think that if you were 10 years old or older when G.I. Joe came out, you were more of a fan of the original figures and the comic book. If you were under 10 when it came out, then you were a cartoon fan. And right now it's the cartoon fans are running the line, which is why we're getting so many cartoon figures.
Okay, I hate to break it to you. I was over 10 and I like the cartoon.
I was over 10. I was over 10. Well, see, but these are all generalizations too.
Right.
That's the thing is but I'll try to fix my headphones again. I got these cheap headphones.
Oh, there you go.
Cheap. Every once in a while, what happens is I'm sitting there talking and they'll start getting staticky, so I got to disconnect them and reconnect them. So, but the and so that's why I get these things are coming out.
But the cartoon versus the comic guys have been there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, but it's his idea that I can't, that there, if you say something you like about one of them and didn't like about the other, and vice versa, then you're everybody hates on you unless you 100% agree with me on this. Then we can't talk.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but so I love the original 13, and there's enough variation. And you give the original 13, like I said, they only had like 2 body molds they were using for everything. So and then
4 technically, if you count clutch as one, and then it's like Short Fuse. Oh wait, you had Scarlet and you had Rock and Roll too. So there was a few more.
Then you had the bearded head and the unbearded head.
There was more. Head.
Yeah. So, but at least with the classified line, they kept them in green uniforms, but they tried to individualize them a little bit with that.
Right.
So, and that's
I mean, even back then, you could tell it was an inexpensive line, but
yeah, well, it was an experiment. It was a risk that Hasbro takes, and the thing is that when they were in the planning stages, the military still used OD uniforms.
Right.
It wasn't until the late 70s and early 80s that they started going to, camouflage, woodland camo. And plus, all of our media back then was all focused on, again, like I tell folks all the time, that everybody that was cool on TV were from the Vietnam War. The 18 were Vietnam War veterans, Magnum PI, and
right.
All these guys. So that was the most recent thing. But Hasbro took a risk, because the 12-inch line had died, and then they tried switching to Adventure Team, and then the 8-inch in the 70s, and that line had been dead for a good 5 years. before they, Star Wars, kind of gave them some hope. But then it was, Star Wars was, 5 POA figures, and most of the copycats were that way too. So then they, stole the idea for the O-ring from another company, and but they
Let's
took
see,
a
they
risk
stole
with
it from
that.
Nego, who stole it from Takara.
But that was the thing too with not just Hasbro, a lot of companies do this, is that you could tell when the line started chasing other trends. When they started doing the neon and the firing weapons and was stuff other people were doing to try to innovate to get ahead of Hasbro.
But it was
And
still
once they
selling
start
that
chasing,
too.
yeah, but once they start chasing trends, then and that's um, you it's a company that is not innovative at all nowadays. They're just rehashing old ideas or chasing what somebody else is doing. Like Nerf. Like I've got, I used to have younger kids that were into Nerf, and now there's other companies that are putting out far better, Nerf weapons
Right.
and things like that. That then I saw Hasbro starts trying to copy them, and it's like just be innovative, folks. It's
Come on, Hasbro's
it's
copying
hard.
itself at this point. I mean,
Yeah, I mean they're at the point where, listen, once you have a certain amount of money, you can afford to take risks, but that's when you don't want to take risks. The it's usually companies that have nothing to lose and everything to gain that take risks. So,
here's the problem: if they take a risk, they run a risk. They will run a risk of their quarterlies being lower. Quarterlies go down, the stocks get sold.
yeah,
Stocks get sold, they lose even more money, and then they're in a free fall. That's
yeah.
what they're afraid of, and that they're really close to doing that every single quarter.
I think that listen, I'm a capitalist. I'm a free market capitalist, and I like being able to invest in companies. So I think quarterly reporting has done more damage than anything else. And I know I kind of get onto a weird tangent because it just engenders this short term thinking of folks, and nobody thinks long term. What the future is going to look like. It's how much can we squeeze now?
And
And
on top of that, I've always said the main problem with corporation thinking is I always want to keep going up, 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 up. There's a limit.
yeah,
Eventually, you just can't go any higher. Then what are you going to do?
well, yeah, that's a big problem. And but people also
Right.
too, they don't they don't understand that. And naturally, what happens is that sometimes you're ahead and sometimes you're behind. That's just the natural order of things.
Right.
And so that's a weird tangent to go off. But this is why you also get now Hasbro doing all this whole reissue thing. I mean, it's no longer just using the same bodies and painting them to be different figures, which all companies do that. The original Joe line was notorious for kit bashing. And that's what I understand, but it's this idea now they're not even trying, they're just putting out something they put out, a few years ago. And it's this idea again, it's this idea that we're trying to squeeze what we can now because we really don't have a plan for the future of
Of course they
this,
don't.
And I just don't understand
Hasbro's
that.
going to be. I guarantee you, Hasbro is going to be a pure game company within. I'll give it 5 years.
And they're already late to the party on that. Then,
Yeah, and
they're playing catch
I'll
up
tell
with
you
all
the
the
truth. I
other.
think what's going to happen to them is that the game part that they're trying to reach for, those microtransactions out of games, I think that's going to go through a major overhaul in the next 4 years. By the time they're ready to grab that brass ring, it's going to turn to rust.
Yeah, I agree.
I really do, and then they're going to be in deep trouble.
Yeah, and the whole microtransaction is still a short sighted.
Mm-hmm.
Think a short sighted way to run a company. What was that? I'm sorry.
Look what Monopoly Go did.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it made a lot of money.
Well, yeah, and Hasbro's following the Disney model, where Disney stopped innovating, and they just started acquiring. They
Most
stopped coming
corporations
up
go
with,
through this cycle.
yeah, but it's usually where you see this start to happen with the company is when the anybody that had a connection to the people that founded the company
Yep.
go away. Because if you ever read any of Walt Disney's old stuff where he talks about
Mm-hmm.
one of the things he was adamant about, and I'm going to mangle this quote, is that he said, that you do something that's so amazing that people will come and watch it again and bring a friend.
Right.
That's kind of the gist of it. And that was about, what can we push? Can we push animation further? Can we build a theme park based on our, and can we sell this, and it's just, and then they just stopped innovating, and then and it would be fine if they would actually, let those properties, you know, keep being innovative. You can't innovate yourself and you buy somebody to do it, but they have to you know, screw that all up. About the only good thing is I don't know. I'm kind of weird. This is I watched that new Muppet show that Disney Plus did.
I haven't watched it yet.
So, I remember watching the Muppet Show as a kid,
Right.
growing up, and I've seen some of the iterations, and it's just kind of they're mismarked because they're trying to be too today with it,
Mm-hmm.
and they got Seth Rogen for whether you like him or not. The guy is you can tell he's definitely a fan of the old show, and
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what he wanted to bring with some little tweaks, you know, with that. And I thought that was a really good job. But I know what's going to happen if they greenlight it, then Disney's going to, if it starts making a little money, then Disney's going to, come in and fix it, for
Yeah.
some weird audience they know. I did. Yeah, yeah, Ken. Yeah, I watch everything on. Most people watch my stuff on the replay. Because YouTube, like, I'm not big enough for YouTube to send out priority
we don't
notices
we
for.
don't push you out yet.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm being on the Z list of YouTube, but it's but it's fine. Like I said, I just use more for my amusement and my enjoyment than anything else. And if somebody else finds enjoyment out of it too, then that's good. Like I said, I may just find, like I said, I may start looking around for, large channel that won't notice me that can start picking on and,
That's
start
what you do. Yeah.
content off their back. You know,
That's it.
it's like I'll just avoid. There's certain ones I'll avoid because I know they'll clap back no matter how big you are. So, like, I won't go
True
after
enough.
I won't go after Articulating Ninja. I won't go after Michael French or any of those guys because they'll drop the hammer on you. But I like how they do it though. They're really good at how they do it.
Right.
I can respect the game. So it's just I know like Articulating Ninjas are going to dox you. So it's
Right.
which I tell folks all the time. I live in Florida, so you can try to dox me if you want to. You better be better armed than me when you come to my door. So it's,
Yeah. Exactly.
so Rob, what do you have coming up?
Um, I've got a surprise one coming up. Hopefully Sunday. I'm
Oh,
working on it all week. It's about a lot of things going around in various pockets of the YouTube sphere,
okay,
and kind of happening in the toy community too. But it's been a lot more quiet. But it's the same flavor of spice, and
okay,
it's like we were talking earlier about you you were talking before the show. You don't want to address somebody. You have to address it. But you got to be
yeah,
careful about when you address something. Is like if you give someone too much attention, that gives them what they want.
yeah,
So that's kind of what I'm doing here. Is I'm showing examples of this same behavior in other communities, and then going, "Oh, guess what? This is happening here." It's I'm not going to tell you who it is because you probably already know because they've said my name, they've said Chad's name, they've said
uh,
3POA's name.
yeah,
Um, and if I say their name, they get what they want. They get
yeah,
people looking at them.
yeah, I don't. It's not, yeah, I like Chad, but I don't get that whole thing that happened uh, at that con. It's like,
Yeah, that was
well,
both.
it's like Chad has seen and involved things that would make most men, uh, you know what I'm saying. There's something like say I'm a veteran, and fortunately, I never had to go to war.
Yeah, well, he's got to be careful around that guy that went to juvie.
Yeah, so it's like, and so you're basically just betting that he's going to be the bigger man than you.
Yeah,
you know, when you do when you pull that stuff, especially somebody that their backgrounds they've probably never been in a fist fight before. So it's kind of it's like that's a weird tree to start barking up. So
yeah,
I never said that. That's crazy, so that's you said that's Sunday that's coming out.
yeah. It should be a fun one because it'll probably
Yeah.
be. And man, I tell you, this week has just given me so much with that video. I hope I get it done Sunday because a
Okay.
long, it's a long video, and I'm having to cut in some stuff fairly recently, like
Yeah.
within the past couple of days, in addition into that video. So it's like,
Well, I'm looking forward to that. And
all
again,
right,
I appreciate you coming on. I know we
sure.
kind of wandered a little bit back and forth. That's kind of how these go. Like I said,
Well,
I
it's
like,
Friday, and
yeah,
I got off work right before I came on here, and it was just like, I'm going with the flow, and I'm
yeah, yeah. All the big dogs are at ZolaCon, so we'll be
yeah.
watching some of that
And on
tomorrow.
top of that, it was like I, I was telling you before, I was watching the drama with Paramount buying WB and
Yeah,
people freaking out because the president of Paramount knows Trump and all that stuff. It's just like, oh my God, you people
yeah,
never cease to give me comedy.
yeah. It's crazy. But so I'm going to start. I want to end the show here. But what I do is I've started doing something new.
All right.
I did this on my last stream. So what I do is I'm starting to end my shows on a segment what I call something to think about, and it's
Okay.
where I share something I've read or something I've seen or just some things that have you know I'm you know I'm in my 50s now, and so I've picked up some wisdom along the way from
Yeah, I'm
wise
playing Santa
people.
Claus this week.
Yeah, so I like to share that. So 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 something to think about for those that watch us on the replay is uh great author, writer, storyteller Jack Handy. He once wrote, and I think it's kind of appropriate for what we discussed today. He said, before you criticize someone, walk a mile in their shoes. That way, you'll be a mile away from them, and you'll have their shoes. And that's words I have always lived by.
That's good.
So yeah. So Robert, again, thank you for coming out. And so now I'm going to end the show with how I do that. I don't have an outro. It took me several hours just to make that little intro thing. So I just end the show by basically just pressing a button in the show. And with that, I'm pressing the button. So have a good night.